On this week's episode of the BS Show, we dive into the Switch 2 and more. Before we jump in, don't forget to stay connected with us on all socials at the BS Show GG. Love what you're hearing? Show your support by liking this episode, dropping a comment with your thoughts, and subscribing to keep up with all our future content. I'm Blake, and with me as always is Steve. Welcome everyone to the BS Show. Hope everybody's had a great weekend and having a great start to the week. Before we hop into everything, I kind of wanted to give a little update on the fantasy game league that we started the other week as one of my games came out, which was the Donkey Kong Country Returns that I was kind of little worried about because it's such an older game or older type of game. Anywho's, so I ended up getting 8 points for it out of 10, or I don't remember. I think it's out of 10, right? No, I think it's just out of 10 because it's a rating out of 100, and then that correlates. If it's like close to 80, I think it's like if it's above 75 goes 8. Anyway, I got 8 points on it. It was rated 78 out of 100, which actually is a lot better than I thought it was. I kind of just threw it on there as like a wild card. Other than that, been playing a lot of League. We dumped a shit ton of time Saturday, Steve, into Fast Food Simulator. And I remember I went to bed. I know you passed out at like 1 a.m. or you got off like 1:30 a.m. your time, 2:30 mine. I ended up going to bed at like 4 o'clock my time. I woke up and told Megan, I was like, I went to bed like super late. I was like, me, Steve, and Ryan we're busy freaking working the grills of our burger joint, dude. What'd you think of that game? I feel like the time just kind of flew.
It's fun. It's fun for sure. Like I love those types of games, like simulator. I mean, anything simulator. Like me, like I will play the crap out of a good simulator game, and then anything with the kitchen. Like I love playing Plate Up. I think I have maybe 100 hours on Plate Up, and I think you played with us, right?
I played with you and Jose.
Yeah, that's like if you think Fast Food Simulator gets hectic, like Plate Up gets like I think a million times more hectic than whatever we kind of got to with.
I liked Plate Up, but it's the controls are a little different because it's not like with Fast Food Simulator. It's pretty cut and dry with how you do everything. With like Plate Up, it's like you got like specific keybinds for things. It's like as long as you kind of remember that, it's not as bad. But I don't know. I like the realism of the Fast Food Simulator, and not to mention like how freaking stressed out you guys were making me trying to get, once we got to like level 15, like trying to work the drive-through, and then the huge freaking crowd inside the dining room, bro, was so fucking intense. Like
it's you just and that's one of the things too that we'll do in Plate Up. It's like you can't take every order all at once because otherwise it overwhelms the kitchen and you just can't do anything.
Yeah, well, so we were waiting for Ryan to like put food out, dude. It's like I need all these orders, and there was like one burger ready to go for like 15 orders that I just took. But I think I was getting lost on the screen, right?
Yeah, it's when you play. So the way it is, it's like if he starts making one burger, and you accept another order, it moves whatever order was recently on the screen. So he thinks he's working on one, and all of a sudden it's off the screen. So now he's like, oh crap, which one am I working on? So he doesn't.
Okay.
That's why I was saying like you can't just accept every single order. You have to kind of figure out how to time it out. So it's like every customer is going to be in your area for a certain amount of time. So you accept one, let them work on it, and then when they have like 10 seconds left before they're going to leave, then you accept theirs, and it's like, okay, get that one in queue.
Do you think they should put like a timer on there to say, hey, there's so much time you have before they leave? Because we had that happen a few times where the customers ended up leaving because we didn't get their order out in like 30 seconds or something like that.
That would be nice. Like Plate Up has that. Well, it's not till they leave till you fail the run.
Yeah.
But that would be nice to know. Like, okay, you have this much time before this happens. But I guess with this game, it's like there's not really any big consequences if they leave. They just leave and your popularity goes down. That's really it.
So we were talking about this kind of a little bit with like single player on this game, and it seems like it's way easier if you have more than one person, right? I was thinking about everything that was going on. I'm like, holy shit, like there's no way I'd be able to do this if I was by myself.
Yeah, single player would be impossible, I think, especially once you kind of get the drive-through and everything else involved. Like, unless you have it so where they don't leave, there's no
like on
you
easy
said
mode?
There's a set. Well, you said there's a setting where they don't get
they don't leave. Yeah.
So you probably set that up and you just work it as you go. You just pre-prep as much stuff as possible. like pre-prep a bunch of fries, a bunch of burgers, and then go like that. But otherwise, yeah, there's no way.
I
It's
think
just
changing the time too for the time of day from 8 minutes to 10 minutes made it a little bit harder too, because I feel like we had so many more orders
I
once
don't
we
know.
bumped it up to 2 extra
Because
minutes.
normally those games, it's like it's a set amount of people that are going to come in no matter what. So if whether it's 8 hours or 10
Oh, it
hours,
just stretches
usually
it out.
yeah, usually it's just stretched out or compressed, and you'll kind of see it like in the 10-hour window. We wouldn't get a customer in for like the first hour, 2 hours
Yeah, that's
of the
true.
day.
So besides that, what games have you really been playing this past week and weekend?
So been playing a little bit of Supervive and been playing a lot of WoW Ascension. It's been a lot of fun playing that.
I still don't know how you enjoy playing that. It's so different. I mean, maybe
It's
I don't
and
know. I haven't
I mean
played
and that
WoW or anything WoW related in a while.
and that's the point. It's like it's different. It provides you a different way of playing the game, and that's kind of the one thing that it's like that I want from World of Warcraft is something different,
Well, they
something
did
that I
just put out
haven't
Plunder
done in a
Storm.
long time. Yeah, and I'll probably play it, but I'm not rushing to play it. Like it's not like I enjoyed it. I had a good time playing Blunderstorm, but for me, it's like it wasn't the greatest thing on earth. It was fun, but again, like there's other things I would like to play.
Well, I'm gonna give you a quick little heads up if you try to hop into it. I just tried playing a game like half hour ago, and it has to fill up to like out of 60 players, I think, for solo. And I sat in there for like 15 minutes, and the lobby still wasn't filled.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so they don't do a really good job of showing that it's available there. Like on the home screen, you got to like look at the top where like it says like realms and all the other shit like that. There's a little
Okay.
area that says mode, and you should actually like look for it to know where to look for it to find it. Like it should have been. It should be kind of I think like how WoW Classic is in hardcore. Like it should be like a drop down menu that you select and launch to make it a little
Okay.
easier for people to hop into. But
Okay.
anything else you've been playing?
No, that's really it.
All right, man. Well, let's cut through the BS and get right into it. So. Subscriptions and game passes are pretty popular now, and I guess lots of companies thought like these subscription-based services would be like the next big thing. You got Xbox has the Game Pass, Sony has PlayStation Plus. However, the general consensus seems to be that the game market doesn't want a Game Pass. A lot of people feel that they just want the traditional way of purchasing games, i.e., you purchase it from the game store. You go to your Walmart or Target or GameStop and purchase your game there. They don't really like the idea of paying a subscription each month for a chance of being able to play new games. Like I know, what was it, Call of Duty Black Ops? I think it's 6, the newest one. You could have paid like the $60 to buy it, or they had it for free, quote unquote free on the Game Pass. But a lot of people are like, I just rather buy if I want to play the game, I'm going to buy the game. I don't want to have to pay for a subscription to play the game. Me personally, I like Game Pass. I think there's a lot of games on it that are normally $50+ like I said with like Black Ops 6 that you're getting for free, and it gives you the opportunity to try out games that you would have never purchased before. Now lots of companies. So I guess what happens with like especially like Xbox Game Pass, Microsoft kind of reaches out to these game companies and stuff like that, and they ask, hey, do you want to release on Game Pass? And like a lot of companies have been, declining it, saying no, we don't want to do it. We'd rather just go the traditional way. So what's your take on Game Pass? Do you think that it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? Like, how do you feel about it?
I think Game Pass is good for the consumer and bad for the industry. It's bad for the industry in a sense where it's like companies are not making as much money on their games because they're not getting the revenue that they would get if they were selling the games based like buying discs or whether it's online, whatever. They're just missing out on that revenue. It's great for the consumer because again, like you said, it provides people the opportunity to be able to play the game without having to shell out $60-$70 for it. You're paying $20 a month, and if you're buying say a $60 game every month or every 2 months, even every 3 months, it kind of pays for itself off that kind of $20 price tag. The big thing too, it's like it just really depends on if you're getting those brand new games on Game Pass every single or as soon as they release. If you're not, then it kind of becomes one of those things. It's like, is it really worth it then?
Yeah, do you think
I
that $20 price point's a little steep for it?
What is it now? I thought it was
I
a
think
little bit
Game
less,
Pass,
right?
or maybe it's like 15 or $16. I know
It's
I got
$10.
Game Pass. I don't even honestly. I just have it auto take out. I don't even because like Callie will get like a bunch of games on her Xbox for it.
Yeah, so it's $10 a month, or $15 a month for the standard. The ultimate is 20. The PC Game Pass is 12.
I think that's what I
Um,
have. I know. I think I have both. I have it available on because I gave her. I bought an Xbox a while ago. I gave it to her because I don't play it, and then obviously I have my PC, but I have Game Pass on both. I don't
yeah,
know. A lot of
and
these things I just kind of pay and don't even realize it.
I've had so I had the version, the PlayStation version of it, and I thought it was great. Um, Again, it just depends on what you're getting from it. I think probably the best thing to really do to be able to take to not necessarily hurt the organizations as much is maybe instead of just releasing every single new game, you kind of focus on releasing some older games, some indie games,
That
and
would be
even kind of
perfect.
put new games on more of a cycle. So you have a game come out for 2 to 3 months, then it goes away from Game Pass, and then it comes back. That way, if it's a game that people really enjoy, say like a Call of Duty or something, it provides that incentive. It's like you already got to play it, you got to demo it for 2 to 3 months,
Yeah.
and now it's like, okay, I have to go out and purchase the game if I want to continue playing it. But yeah, I mean that's why so when I purchased the Sony Pass, I purchased it because it provided you the opportunity to play the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 games. And there was a lot of games that I was like, I really want to play these games again, so let me just get this.
So okay, so let me ask you this: do you think that trying to figure out like how to word this? So like, do you think Microsoft and Sony are like going to these companies like, hey, you want to release your game on our thing, and it's like, because I wonder like if Microsoft pays them amount of money to have them on there, or if like they're like, oh hey, we're Microsoft, we're Sony, we're giving your game a chance to be seen in front of millions of consumers. Like that's the good thing about it. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm sure Microsoft is paying them a certain amount. Like there's probably like a licensing fee or something like that they would have to pay. From their perspective, it makes sense because when it's kind of turned into this world of like hardware isn't where companies like Microsoft and PlayStation are really making their money. They're making their money off these additives, whether it's Xbox Live, PlayStation Live, or the games themselves. Xbox just didn't really sell enough hardware to really kind of make up
Yeah.
that loss. They had to kind of pivot, and that's where this whole Game Pass thing came out. They kind of realized it's like, okay, we have Game Pass, we're able to leverage Game Pass and basically put this everywhere, and that's really what they're pushing for. It's like I know a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago we kind of talked about how Xbox is really focusing on you could just play Xbox anywhere. It's not to the point now where you need an Xbox to be able to play Xbox. It's just you're just playing Xbox games. So they're hyper focusing on cloud gaming, basically making Game Pass something that it's like almost like a must have. It's almost like Netflix. It's like you
Yeah.
just don't even realize that you have it. It's just you like to play games and 20, 15, $20. And I think that's why they're trying to keep that price point somewhat low. So where it's like people
Well, it's
don't
not
even
hurting
really
everybody's or
yeah,
wallets.
people don't really notice that they have it. You have people that can't necessarily really afford to buy games all the time, and
Yeah.
their kids want to get games. They want to play Xbox games or they want to play PlayStation games. It's like, okay, now we have a Fire Stick or we have a computer, and they could just play games through cloud.
See, I like it. I like I said, I'm a huge fan of it. I just the subscription based model, I'm just not a fan of. Like, I just, you know, because it reminds me a lot of like I'm just gonna say like Planet Fitness, where like their whole business model is on hoping that you forget that you're paying for it and actually like don't come into the gym. Like I just feel like a lot of these they charge like a reasonable price, these $10 to $15, so that way people like they don't even like I haven't even played a game on Game Pass in a while. Like I said, I like it, I agree with it, but I just like it just seems kind of I don't want to say scummy, but just like I don't know as like a we hope that you're forgetting that you're subscribed to these services kind of thing.
I wouldn't necessarily say they're. I think Game Pass is completely. I mean, I guess in your experience, it's you kind of forgot about it. But most people that are going to get Game Pass are either parents that can't really afford to buy games all the time, or people that play games pretty regularly and are gonna use it eventually. Even like I said, even if you play one game every 3 months, like a brand new game, like whether it's the Indiana Jones game, it kind of pays for itself. It's $20.
Yeah.
Brand new game is going to be 60, $70, and you get the game for free. You get Call of
I
Duty,
don't remember
same
how
thing.
long the game lasts, though. Isn't it only for like a few little bit, or is it when you download it, you have it forever? Or no, I think it's only on Game Pass for X amount of time.
Yeah, I have no idea. I really don't necessarily know how that works, but I mean, with things like this, like I think almost everything is moving into a subscription based. The whole idea of getting a customer to get a subscription, it basically turns the customer from a one time customer to now they're recurring, and that's what businesses want. Businesses want to continue to make money and churn money and continue to get more profits and grow and grow and grow. And if someone's just buying one thing and that's it, then that's not really a customer that you necessarily want. Versus someone that's buying these subscriptions, they're going to constantly come back, constantly purchase more things.
Yeah, I do like the whole like I see where you're coming from, and I kind of do like how it's like if let's just say they give you the games for 3 months, it does give you a chance to like really like play it. You know, either A, beat it, or B, like if it's a live service game, like you know what, I've spent a lot of time on this game. I'm definitely gonna purchase it. It's worth the $50 or $60 that it's the price point of that is at. You know what I mean? So yeah, I could see that. So I'm gonna hop into this next one, dude. So because we're talking a little bit about PC gaming, and this actually kind of surprised me a little bit. So article came out stating that PC games are now generating more revenue and becoming more popular than console games. Honestly, like PC games kind of, I think, like really took off within like the past couple of years. And like I said, the part that surprises me with this is like the price points to even get into PC gaming. And I think, why it's becoming more popular too right now is that at the PC you have a lot more customization, and then I think you have a greater catalog of games. I think you have a way bigger catalog of games on PC than you will ever have on any kind of console. I used to be a huge console gamer with N64 being my first one. Then I was an Xbox fanboy. I've owned every PlayStation and Xbox for like the past freaking 15 years besides the PS5. I did not buy the PS5. But yeah, like most adults I know, like they only own PCs, unless they got like a child or, there's few that own like both. I'm not saying anything's wrong with console gaming, but like after buying a PC, like there's no way I can go back to a console. What's your take on that? Do you think it's like the same thing? Like, yeah, like PC gaming is just like, there's so much more you can do with it, like a better catalog of games, or what?
I mean, it's just better in all aspects.
Yeah, but
like
what
you
makes
said,
it better?
Because there's more that you can do. I mean, that's the simple point right there. It's like there's more that you can do. There's so many different games that you can play. Everything looks better. Everything runs better.
Okay, but what about the price point? What about the price point?
I mean, realistically speaking, the price points are pretty much the same. Like the barrier to entry to get a PlayStation 5 is what, like $500 to get a brand new PlayStation 5. You can get a pretty decent entry level gaming PC for about $500. You could probably even get it for a little bit less if you buy it used on the secondary market. Like my first gaming PC, I paid $300 for it, and that ran me for 2-3 years before I kind of got to the point where it's like, okay, I need to upgrade because I want to do more. So I mean, if you can get a PC for $500 that basically runs everything that you want to run, that you want to play, I mean, I think that's a much better investment than buying what's it called, a PlayStation 5. Then you kind of get into the other avenues like a PlayStation 5 Pro, which is like $1,000. So if you're looking at, okay, you can spend $1,000 buying a PlayStation 5 Pro, or you can buy a PC for $1,000. That's probably going to give you way better performance. And again, you have access to a much larger catalog in a sense where it's like there's a million different indie games that you can play. There's mods. I mean, mods alone, I think, is a big plus side for PC gaming. There's just a million things that you could do with PC game. I love my PC. I've been a PC gamer for a long time. I think I switched over pretty quickly. Like as soon as the PlayStation 4 came out, I think I traded my PlayStation 4 for something, and I just never went back. And now you're kind of getting into the landscape of handheld gaming with like the Steam Deck and the ROGs. It just gives you so much more customability. Like you can customize so much more, and it's I don't know, man.
And graphic wise, which you think obviously PC is better, right?
100%.
Do you think there's ever going to be a
100%.
point though that like console ever catches up to PC, or do you think PC will always just be? Because like I feel like looking at where PCs right now, like with the 5 series that are coming out, like how much more do we need with graphics? Like I'm like thinking about like what more do we need with it? Like is it going to get to a point where it's more like virtual reality kind of shit? So like you really need, you know, a super high end GPU, or like because like this like the 5 series I think you talked about last week, you know, it does the same thing as like a 4090. So it's like, aren't we going to get to a point that it no longer has to be upgraded? Like so like the whole thing I'm trying to say with that is like the biggest thing behind PC gaming, I think like the biggest gripe behind it was like there's always a new graphics card coming out like every year, and it's like that's like, you know, anywhere from $500 to $1,000, where consoles kind of go for, you know,
but
every couple years is when they release.
Yeah, but if you think about it, how often have you upgraded your PC?
Well, I just built my PC last year. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
is that, do you think that there's going to be a point though that
But before that, when was the last time you upgraded your PC?
Probably like fucking 2 years, 3 years before that. I don't know, dude. When I get money, I got a hole in my pocket, and I freaking or hole in my wallet.
And that's pretty. I mean, that's pretty. Like again, like that's a lot more frequent than I think like the average PC gamer. I think the average PC gamer is upgrading their rig every like 5-10 years. Like before my current PC, I had my previous PC for about like 7-8 years. And
really?
that ran me for like literally I could do everything that I can do with this one. Granted, this one is a lot more powerful and I can do a lot more and I can run everything at way better graphics. But my previous one, I could do everything that I do on this one, just not as good. And that's one of the things too with like with PC gaming versus console gaming. It's you kind of get to the understanding. It's like I can play whatever I want, but I might not have the best graphics, but the gameplay is still going to be fun and I'm still going to enjoy it.
I like the movement better on PC.
100. I think it's one of those things you got to get used to it. I think when you play console and you're accustomed to a controller, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it took me quite a while to get accustomed to moving with keyboard and mouse. And now, unless I really have to play with a controller, like there's certain games that it definitely makes more sense to play with a controller, like a platformer or any game where you have to like constantly dodge and do all this other stuff. And even then, it's like some of those games, like I don't mind playing on PC, but like a game like Elden Ring, where
you
I don't know if
gotta play that. Yeah, no, you have to play that on console or on a
controller.
Controller, yeah. No,
I agree. It's there was like 100 keybinds, and I'm like sitting there like, what the heck is going on? I
remember I played it. You told me you're like, play it on controller. Trust me. I was like, okay, yeah, this is way easier on controller.
Yeah, there's some games that like you definitely have to play on a controller, but like for the most part, like I would say like 90% and maybe even higher, you could just play keyboard and mouse, and it's perfectly fine.
I wonder if we're going to get to a time where PC gaming just makes console games just like obsolete, where like everything's just going to be on PC, where every, you know, PC you're going to have the option. I think what if they're going to do it like how Xbox is, you know, have the cloud-based gaming and just everything's going to be done through, you know, PlayStation Plus on your PC or Xbox Game Pass, but it would be them releasing like their exclusives. Like I feel like there's going to be a time where like consoles are just, there's no more.
I don't think that's ever going to happen. In a sense, it's like you're always going to have your Nintendos, you're always going to have your Sonys, and even Xbox to an extent. There's always going to be those, but I think we're getting to the point where less and less there's going to be less and less exclusives.
Or I think handhelds are going to become more popular than
100%. I mean, handhelds are already becoming more. I think if you compare like Switch numbers are probably extremely, extremely high compared to everything else. Yeah. And now I think the reason PC is kind of taking over in a world is largely due to handhelds. It's the ROG and your Steam Decks they're incredible. Like I love my Steam Deck. I love my Steam Deck. I think I play more on my Steam Deck than I play on my computer.
Yeah, well then, I mean, you also have like laptops, like being able to take that stuff on the go. Like you can't really bring If you bring your Xbox, you got to bring all your cables and all the other
I mean,
shit.
gaming laptops, I think are kind of on the way out. Like especially
You
with the
think so?
introduction. Oh, 100%.
Okay. What
Like, dude,
about
when
somebody in like my situation who like I do like like when I go back to work, like I do like overnight. So like I'm staying at a hotel. Like I'm not gonna tote around, like
no,
a handle with me.
I
I mean, maybe I would.
yeah, 100%. Like I'm telling you, like
Yeah, but I'm not gonna be able to play like League or like any of these other games on it.
you can.
On
You
on like a Steam Deck, maybe.
yeah,
But it's totally not the same, bro.
it's I'm telling you, like the stuff that you can do on these handhelds is incredible. Like I've seen people play like WoW on a Steam Deck.
I've seen that.
And it's
I've seen that too.
So it's like you have to kind of imagine like there's so much that you can do on these, and the price point is less than what you would pay for a good gaming laptop. And it's again like I would much rather buy a Steam Deck than buy a gaming laptop for any reason whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever owned a gaming laptop. I was just like thinking, I was like, man, like, well, because like I've thought about getting like a Switch or something like that for when I go back to work to like be able to play. Because I mean, I don't know, I love fucking gaming, but I can't bring a PC with me. But I think laptops too, just I don't know, having to tote that around compared to like a handheld, video handhelds are way more convenient.
Oh, 100%.
Yep.
Yes.
So before we get to our next topic, don't forget to connect with us on all socials at the BS Show GG. So a really good article got put out about I don't know if it's like a company or like what exactly are they're called, Games Done Quick. So they had a speedrunning video game marathon that kicked off 2025, and they hold like these annual speedrunning charity events. As of date, so they've been around I think for about like 15 years. They've raised over $54 million for charities. And their event that they just got done doing raked in over $2.5 million. The money from this one that they just did went to the Prevent Cancer Foundation. I was actually looking up on this quite a bit. They do quite a bit of events.
Yeah.
So
I can't believe you've never heard of Games Done Quick.
No, I think I've heard of it. I just never really watched. I don't know if it's like a company or if it's just like it's like an organization. Like what exactly the label of it is, or if like it's a group.
So it's like they do a bunch. So it's the big thing they do is awesome Games Done Quick, and then so AGDQ and what is crap. I'm blanking on the other one, but they basically do two major big events. And the whole point is they have speed runs. So they have speedrunners come in and they just speed run, and they raise like you said, millions and millions of dollars through a donation. And that's how that's how they kind of raise awareness for these diseases and get all the money to donate. But it's largely in part due to them getting people excited to watch these speed runs. And I love watching speed runs, and this is kind of whenever AGDQ or GDQ is going on, like you kind of see there's so many people watching the streams that it gets it gets pretty sick.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some of the streams before. Like, what makes it like I've seen a few of the speedrunners, but I've never really been big into it. Like, what makes it so popular? Is it just like the difficulty of it? Like, what makes it so cool? Like, how does a thing like this bring in $2.5 million freaking dollars?
So I don't really know what it is specifically that kind of makes GDQ really do extremely, extremely well, because like in a sense, like I don't think speedrunning is really that popular of a thing. I think it's a very niche thing, and then it tends to be very and then it like niches down even more, because then it's like you don't have someone that speedruns like multiple different games. Usually
it's
a
like
speedrunner is speedrunning one game.
Yeah.
And people that enjoy speedrunning this one game or enjoy watching this one game will watch nothing but this one game. Like I had a time in my life where I was speedrunning Super Mario 64 and Pokemon, and I literally watched so many different speedrunners like just playing this game.
It's always like older games too.
Oh, 100%. I think newer games in a sense, but it's like older games definitely, because they were a lot glitchier. There was a lot of things that you can do to kind of speed things up that would create that little give you that extra little boost. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a lot of it having to do with the community kind of coming together and helping out for a good cause. I think that's a lot of what it's doing, because it's the events usually are always relatively, like I said, it's when the actual events are going on, it gets pretty crazy, and they're constantly doing streams. So I think they stream 24/7, and
The
they
streams
always
are
have
always like the very first one on the pages too. Like they always have the most viewers.
not so much when they're not doing the big events, but like right now, like they're probably on right now, and they're probably streaming some like very niche game, but it's when they do the big events and they're streaming these like huge games, and then at the same time, like there's certain games that it's like, okay, we'll speed run this one game, but we have to meet this donation threshold, and then all of a sudden you have people that are coming in and just donating like thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Now, did you see the games that they were speedrunning?
I mean, I've watched a lot of their events. I watch them a lot when I'm I usually always kind of fall asleep to watching their streams.
The one that I thought would have been cool to watch would have been like Legend of Zelda or Super Metroid, because that's actually how they finished it out, was with a Super Metroid. I think it was like a 4-person thing trying to beat it.
Mm.
So I do like though like these charity events, because I feel like they're giving away like tons of money. And it's like always like a bunch of different charities. It kind of like restores your faith in humanity and brings like a lot of good publicity to gaming, because there's always been, I feel like, that stigma against gamers and gaming in general. Like, oh, it makes you violent. Oh, you're an, not, I don't want to say addict, but like you won't get your life together because you're playing video games. So like seeing shit like that like really makes, I don't know, it's a good, happy go lucky like article. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, okay, so what happened to this next one? This is, I'm sure you saw this trailer and were like excited for it. Last of Us Season 2 trailer came out, and it looked like it was pretty badass. My biggest gripe with the show, and I need your thoughts on this, is who they casted to play Ellie, because it's going to be, obviously it's going to be, Bella Ramsey again, like she was in Season 1. And I did a lot of like looking up on this, and like a lot of people do not want her to play Ellie. They're like, she just doesn't look like her. Like, Ellie's supposed to be, this 14-year-old girl. Bella just looks way too old. And the one that I don't agree with, that I think is a little creepy, is people were like, she's just not attractive enough, which is weird because, like I said, she's playing a 14-year-old girl. A lot of them too just say like she's just not like a good actress, just flat out not a good actress. So what'd you think of that trailer that came out?
So I'm kind of indifferent. Last of Us 2 was not my most favorite time playing a game. I was not a big fan, and I think a lot of it having to do with the fact that they kind of kill off a character that you kind of grew very, very attached to. I'm curious to see how they're going to handle that piece of it, because Joel dies very, very early in the game, and I think if they kill off Pedro Pascal like super early in the season, it's gonna get a lot of people are gonna stop watching. I'm kind of assuming.
Do you think it's gonna be like a Walking Dead, or when Glenn
100%.
dies,
I think
ship tanked?
I mean, especially Pedro Pascal is like such a revered actor. Like people love him. People love watching him in things. And I think if you kill him off like relatively quickly, you're just gonna get a lot of people that are pissed off. Especially because I'm pretty sure like a lot of people that are watching this didn't play the game, and they don't know that he's gonna die.
Yeah, I know Megan loved this show, and she's never even touched a Last of Us game at all.
Yeah, I mean, the first season was incredible. I mean, I have no issue with her playing Ellie in the first season. My biggest gripe with her playing her in the second season is in the second game, she was a lot older. Yeah. And you're basically bringing this one character in that played her as a little kid, and she looks exactly the same. Yeah. So it's like, what is going on? Like, that's my biggest gripe, is because
did you see the side-by-side pictures of her and the character? They look nothing alike, dude.
I mean, yeah, you don't necessarily have to have them look exactly alike, because I don't think Pedro Pascal looks like Joel. Yeah. I mean, they have a beard. That's really it. They have a beard and they have short hair, but otherwise they don't look the same. So for me, that's not a big deal. I think the biggest thing is the fact that she's just so much younger. Or I mean, I don't know how old she is, to be honest, but she played the younger herself? Yeah, she played the younger version of Ellie, but now a couple years later, you're having her play the grown up version of Ellie, and it's like, okay, what is going on?
So she's 21. She's playing like a 14-year-old girl.
Okay, yeah. So we'll see how they do it. I'm very curious to see how they go about this, because I'm certain that they understand that if they kill off Pedro Pascal right off the bat, it's gonna get a big drop off. But at the
Season
same time,
one did
it's like,
really good, right? I'm
yeah,
pretty
it
sure
did
season
really,
one was like super popular.
it did really well. But this is gonna be so. Last of Us 2 is gonna be 2 seasons. I think what they're gonna do is they're gonna kill him off at the end of season 1 or season 2, and then season 3 is gonna be basically the conclusion. Which I don't know how they do it. I'm curious to see what they do.
But do you think fans of the video game are gonna be pissed if they kind of change the whole timeline? Because, like you said, in the
No,
two,
I don't.
he dies pretty quick. If they wait, or you think they're gonna stretch out that time period to last a whole
No,
season?
because so the difference in, I guess, video game world and TV show world is, TV show world, I think it has to be very sequential, and it has to kind of go in order for it to really make sense. The thing with the video game, and this game specifically, is it kind of jumped around timelines quite a bit. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to kind of incorporate the beginning of the game, of Last of Us 2, and then a lot of the end, minus the whole conclusion of them kind of talking. So there, it's the beginning, the introduction of the character that kills Joel, and then kind of a little bit of the bits and pieces of the end, where you're kind of getting Ellie reconcile with everything that's going on, and then season 3 will basically be
Have
the
they
finale.
been confirmed to season 3, or you think that's just how they're gonna do it?
No, they said it's going to be 2 seasons.
Okay. So this is coming out in April of this year. So on a scale of 1 to 10, like, is this on, or let me rephrase that. How high up on your like must-watch shows for this year that are coming out is this?
For me, it really just depends on what's out at the time. It's right now, and I'm probably like a 7. Like I said, I was not as big of a fan of Last of Us 2 as I was of Last of Us 1.
So it's just gonna be like, as long as like there's nothing else that's gonna take your time up, like you'll probably end up watching it.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we get into our last topic, if you're enjoying this episode, don't forget to stay connected with us on all socials at the BS Show GG. Oh my God, tongue twister. Anyway, a few episodes ago, we talked about the leaked prototype of the Switch 2, and now they actually officially put out their, I'm gonna call it their trailer, revealing it. The video, which was released on Nintendo's YouTube, racked in a whopping 19 million views, and this was only after 3 days of it being put out. The one I think I linked you was actually Nintendo Japan, and that had already 5 million views. So like, there's obviously a shit ton of hype on the Switch 2. So I've never played a Switch. I've never owned one, never held it in my hands, so like I couldn't really tell you the difference between the Switch and the Switch 2, besides obviously updated graphics and components and stuff like that. I will say that I am very glad to see that they are going to be allowing you to play the Switch 1 games on the Switch 2 as well. Like Nintendo, they announced like they're, because I guess the popularity of the Switch 2, like they're preparing for over 20 million consoles to be sold already in the first year. So you have a Switch 1, right?
Yes.
Is a Switch 2 something that you're probably going to get, or do you think it might, maybe like you're going to wait to see what games come out on Switch 2 to see if it's like, okay, maybe I'll switch it to play those games too?
So that's kind of the interesting part. It's I will probably still end up getting a Switch 2, just because more than likely there's going to be a Mario game, there's going to be a Zelda game that I'm going to want to play, there's probably going to be a Smash Bro, maybe a Mario Kart that I want to play. There's always like 1 or 2 games that I really want to play that Nintendo releases, and it kind of just forces my hand. It's like, okay, I guess I'll buy a Switch. I guess I'll buy a Switch 2. In a sense of like upgrades and updates, better graphics. That's really the biggest thing that I kind of am taking from this. I'm not a big fan of the way the Joy-Cons connect now.
Yeah,
the Joy-Cons do look pretty cool. I do think it looks sleeker, it looks nicer. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for damage If you damage the Joy Cons and they hook into that little clip, like I'm scared that you're not really going to be able to replace them as easily as you are with the current Joy Cons.
So what's the difference between the two? I said, my apologize for my ignorance. Like, what's really the big difference? Because the Joy Cons are what on the top and bottom now, or were they going to be on the sides?
No, so they hook into it now. So they
sorry, they hook. Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah.
yeah, and before you would slide them in. I'm just kind of, I guess, scared, like thinking like a kid is playing it and something just hits on the side and all of a sudden the little
fucks up that hook.
The adapter piece that hooks into the switch breaks, and now you're stuck where it's like, okay, I can't replace this. I have to buy a whole new switch.
I feel like a sliding thing would have been way better.
But I mean, it does. Like I said, it looks super sleek. It looks really cool. I'm probably gonna hold off on buying it at launch. I'm sure it's gonna be insanely popular. They're probably going to release some Mario. No. I think the people that buy Nintendo, Nintendo usually doesn't struggle with that sense because they usually have so many.
Yeah.
I guess Switch 1 did kind of sell out pretty quickly, but again, like Nintendo's supply chain is pretty good. They're just constantly churning these out. It's not like Sony where they were just struggling to keep up with demand.
Yeah. I talked about this a few minutes ago, talking about me going back to work here soon. I think I'm gonna pick one of these up, and I'm probably gonna pick one up for Callie too for Christmas. They didn't put a price point on it yet, though. That's the only thing that kind of worries me. But I know the Switch 1, I think, was in between that $250 to $400 range, so it won't be like too bad to pick one up for her and myself.
Yeah, I think I paid $200 for mine.
Yeah, I think maybe it might be the best choice just to wait a few months and like maybe picked up like, I don't want to say refurbished, but maybe like used, so you're not paying that $400. Because like I said, if I had to guess, that's probably where it's going to be at, like $249 to $399 depending on which one you get, which version of it or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
So anything else you kind of want to hit on with anything today?
No, that was it.
All right, man. So the only game I could really find that is worth mentioning that's coming up is the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is coming out on PC on January 23rd. Yay, my birthday. Anyway, some games that you need to check out on Steam that are on sale at the moment is you got Skyrim is 90% off at $3.99. Ready or Not is 40% off at $29.99. And Rainbow Six Siege is 60% off at $7.99. And that's it for today's episode of the BS Show. If you enjoyed the unfiltered conversations, make sure to follow us on all socials at the BS Show GG. We appreciate you listening, and we'll be back next week with more straight talk. No BS.